Welcome back, friends. In the last couple of videos, we were discussing about control flow statements or flow control statements. In this series, we have already discussed about selection statement. We have already discussed about selection statements provided by Java, and we have thoroughly discussed about if construct followed by switch. And let me remind you, during this discussion, what we have done, we have clearly discussed about where if is best applicable and where switch is best applicable. We have covered in detail about all these things, and also we have seen in how many different ways if can be used as well as switch can be used. I think we have discussed everything in quite in detail, right? In case you missed those videos, please go back and complete those videos, come back here so that we can continue with the next control flow statements. The next control flow statements are looping statements, or you can call these on iterative statements or repetitive statements, right? Let us understand why these are required, then we'll go through what are the different looping construct provided by Java and which construct is used for what kind of application, right? So let us throw some lights in selection statement. Let us understand when at what point of time we should go for selection statement, and at what point of time the selection statement will definitely not going to help me in my application, right? Let us discuss about that particular point. Suppose my requirement is I want to execute a specific block of statements for specific number of times, let's say for 4 times. So in the normal programming practice, what we need to do, we need to write that particular statement at least for 4 times. If that block will contain 10 number of programming codes, I have to write 40 number of programming codes, and the same 10 number of programming codes we can write for 4 times. In return, the length of the program definitely get enhanced, so also as the readability will be definitely low and performance is also reduced, right? Instead of doing that, what we can do, we can adopt a procedure where we have to write that block of statements only once, and we can able to execute that particular block of statements for n number of times or a specific number of times. Now if our requirement is like this, then looping construct will help me. The major difference between a looping statement and a selection statement is, in selection statement only one block will be executed depending upon the status of the condition, but this block of statement will be executed only once. This will be executed only once in lifetime, right? But here in looping statement, the same block of statement will be executed as long as the condition is true. So two things are there. In the first case, the statements are executed only if the condition is true. In the second case, the statements are executed as long as the condition is true. You can take this note also. Here we can write in one sentence, the statements are executed only if the condition is true. But here in loop, what is going to happen? The same scenario, the statements are like, let me copy this one. The statements are executed not only if, but we can say as long as the condition is true. So there are few things also, because I have only written the true part, there is also a false part and all other things are there. So the major thing what I want to share with you is, in selection statement, the block will be executed only if the condition is true. That means it will be executed maximum once, not maximum once, only exactly once. But in loop, we can execute the same block of statements as per our requirement for number of times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, like that. Let's start with a simple example. Then we'll go through what are the different looping construct provided by Java and what are the different looping behaviors in Java, right? Let us start with a simple question. Question is, let us print natural numbers 1 to 6 or 1 to 5. So this is my question. I want to print the natural number from 1 to 5. Now, what we can do? We can write something like this. We can write something like this: system.out.println1, system.out.println2, like this. This is a simple Java program. If we execute this program, no doubt what we are going to get? We are going to get natural numbers. Yes, from 1 to 5, 100%. There should not be any doubt about that. Java test. Now see what we are going to get. We are going to get 1 to 5. But to get this 5, suppose there will be a question. I don't want to print 1 to 5. I want to print 1 to 1000. Then if we follow this particular procedure, I have to write system.out.println how many times? 1000 times. So instead of doing that, what we can do, we can use the simple procedure. Don't worry, we'll learn this sequence. I'm just trying to make you understand how the loops are behaving actually. See here, what is going to happen? Only one statement will be repeatedly executed. That statement is system.out.println followed by a number. Let us remove all this, or what we can say, let me write here using loop. See, let us see the difference. The same set of answers, but now the effort is, I have made a mistake. I hope I have not declared this side and I'm using this one, right? So let me declare this one. Fine. Now if we try to execute this program, we have now three things: 1 to 5, here also 0 to 5, right? So now to print 0 to 5, can you observe how many lines of codes I have written? Only 2 lines, the first line and the second line. So this is the beauty of a loop. For loop, I need to execute the same statement repeatedly till the condition is true. Once the condition will be false, it will be coming out of the loop, right? So the basic definition, or the basic way to define a loop is basically a technology, or loop is basically a statement which will help us to execute one or more than one statement, maybe a block of statement, for a specific period of time until the condition is false, or till the condition is holds good. So whatever way you can define, right? Now if there will be a question, your interviewer can ask you, can you please differentiate between a selection statement and a looping statement? They are not asking you about if and while. They just want to know how you define the selection, how you differentiate from selection and loops. So we have a lot of differences. The first difference is the statement will be executed once, but here the statements will be executed for more than one time. That is first talk. Second, the statements are executed only if the condition is true. Here I can write the statements will be executed as long as the condition is true, right? Third, so we have several options. As we go through, we can also detect them and we can also go on adding. So the major difference are only these 2 points, right? Remaining points we'll go on adding once we complete this looping. You can add lot of points, right? To start with, we'll go with this. So in Java gives us lot of different types of looping statement. If we differentiate, if we categorize this loop into categories, 2 categories are there actually. The names are different for different books and different people, but at the end of the day they are saying the same concept. They are basically spelling out the same concept. Some people call this as one loop as pretest loop. the same pretest loop at some point of time called as entry level. At the same time, some people uh, call this one as entry controlled loop. Similarly, the uh, next one is called as post test. That is also, you can call that one as exit controlled loop. So both are same. Either you are using a pre-test, or you are using a entry control, or you are using a post-test, or you are using a exit control loop. Both are same. So two kinds of loops are there. For pre-test loop, Java is offering two kind of loops. One is while, second one is of course for, right? And for post kind of tip, Java has one option, that is do while. So we will go in detail. Apart from this three, we'll also learn one more loop, that is for each. So now we are going to cover this for first three, and the next one we'll cover this four loops provided by Java in detail. Now all these loops have one common behavior. They has the capacity to execute a block of codes for repeated period of time, right? This is the common behavior. Now there might be a question. Definitely this question will be there in your mind, or this question might be asked at the interview room. This simple question, yet very difficult to answer. Question is, if, listen very carefully, if all these statements are agreed to the same behavior, why different loops are there? If while is acting same as for is acting same as while, both are agreed to a specific thing common in both. So why we are using while, why we are using for, or what is the time we should use while, and where is the time I should use for, and so also as do while, right? We need to answer this question, right? So we'll start one by one, and while starting them, we'll understand why that loop is required and all, right? So up to this point, I think you all are clear about the difference between a selection statement and a looping statement, and different types of looping statement offered by Java, right? So we'll start with the first loop, that is while loop. We'll start with the first loop called as while loop. Remember, while and for both are pre-test loop or entry control loop. Let me clarify what exactly pre-test loop is, and what exactly, why this is called as pre-test loop. See, in pre-test loop, what is the basic scenario is, suppose this is a block of statement. I need to execute this block of statement, right? For repeated period of times. I might don't know for how many times. I don't know exactly how many times, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. This might be a case. There also might be possibility I know for how many times I have to execute this block. Two possibilities, sir. Suppose here, if I ask you, can you please go and print the natural numbers 1 to 100? You can say, sir, this loop will be executed for 100 times. So this is one scenario. Suppose at the same time, I'm asking you one more question. Suppose there is a database of students in the university. I don't know how many students are there. I want to print only the name of final year students. Got my point? I want to print only the name of final year students. Now the problem is, I don't have any idea how many students they are. So depending upon the number of students, this particular loop will go on and on and on. Here the counting I might know before writing the loop, but here there might be chance I don't have that idea for how many times I should run this particular loop. So we'll discuss that one, right? So the major point is about pre-test loop. Suppose this loop need to be executed. Now what I need to do is, regarding pre-test, in pre-test the condition will be just written before the loop starts. It will be always, the condition will be always appeared at the top of the block. Now if the condition will be true, the block will be executed. If it will be false, it will not be executed. This is what called as pre-test loop. I repeat, in pre-test loop, one thing is there, the condition will be placed at the top of the block. Block means the block which you want to execute repeatedly, number one. Number two, if the test will evaluate to true, then the block will be executed. Or in other words, until that or till the time it is going on producing true as its value, this particular block will go on executing and executing and executing. Once it will be false, it will be come out of the loop. So why it is called as pre-test? Test will be done first. If it is true, then execute. If it is false, please don't. So that's why this is called as pre-test loop or entry control loop. We can take one example for this. What is pre-control loop and what is post-control loop? In pre-control loop, we can take one example. Example like, suppose you have an examination today. Today. This is the examination hall. You have to enter. You have to go and sit in your specific seat so that you can appear the exam. Now, for appearing the exam, one thing is mandate, that is your admit card. Got my point? One thing is mandate, that is your admit card. So there are few people, few teachers or few people who are responsible for checking your admit card. If you have admit card, you can enter into the room. If you don't have the admit card, you cannot enter into the room, right? So this is called as entry controlled. This is what called as pre-test. So test will be done first, then you can execute. Like the same procedure will be executed for how many students? Suppose 200 students need to be appear. So it will be checked first, that enter. Second one will be checked first, then enter. Third people he don't have, he have to come back. Got my point? So the point is, at entry time, condition will be checked, then they can enter into the loop. So you can add a point here. What about this pre-test? If for pre-test, let us add few points into that. In pre-test, what is going to happen, and in post-test, what is going to happen, right? So here we can say the condition is always present at the top of the block. Which block? The block which need to be executed repeatedly, right? Number two, the condition will be checked first, then block will be executed, right? Suppose for the first time, even at the beginning, if your condition evaluated to false, end of the story, nothing will going to be executed, that's for sure. So in pre-test, there is no guarantee. It cannot give you guarantee that the loop will be executed for once. It cannot give you that guarantee. Suppose for the first time, suppose I'm writing a condition. Let's say I'm writing something like a is equal to 6. Suppose the value is a is equal to say 6. I'm writing a condition if a is greater than 7, and there is a loop, right? So what will happen once this will be evaluated? It is 6. If I'm writing a is greater than 7, definitely this one will be false. The moment it is false, the entire block will be ignored, right? So it doesn't guarantee that the things will be executed at least once. That purely depends upon the satisfaction of the condition. The condition will be checked first, then the block will be executed if it is true. It is evaluated to true. Remember this particular point. These 3 points are valid for all the pre-test loop out there. Why it is called as pre-test? Because the test will be done first, then the loop will be executed, right? Now, let us move further. Let us go one by one. We'll start with a while loop. We'll start with a while loop and we'll discuss every aspects of while loop. Got my point? Right. So just earlier we are discussing, while working with loops or while working in a programming language, we have lot of different types of requirement, right? Whenever we have a requirement to execute a specific group of statement depending upon a condition, we are going for selection statement, right? When we want to execute a group of statement repeatedly, we are going for a loop. Now similarly, while working with a loop, two things are possible. First, before going into the loop, we might have an idea for how many times the loop is going to be executed. This might be a case. Second case, we might not have the idea. We might not have the idea. Sometimes we have the idea, sometimes we might not have the idea, right? Suppose, just previously I'm giving you the example. Suppose I want you to print natural numbers from 1 to 200. Now you know for how many times your loop is going to be performed, like 200 times. Suppose I'm telling you 10,000 times. Go on printing all the natural numbers from 1 to 10,000. You know, my loop is going to be executed for how many times? 10,000 times. So this is called as fixed iterative loop or fixed loop only. But there might be some time where we don't have any idea before writing the loop for how many times my loop will be executed. So in that case, while will be the best choice. Keep this particular thing in mind. We can also write that particular point when we should go for while. We should go for while when we don't have the idea in advance that for how many times my loop will be executed. If we don't have the idea for how many times my loop will be executed, definitely I should go for while loop. Keep this particular thing in mind. This is a very simple answer, but lot of people could not able to answer this question, why we are going for a while loop even if there is a for loop, right? So the answer is, there may be at certain point of writing codes for my application, we might have a requirement कि we don't know for how many times I want to continue my loop, but still I need to write a loop. In that case, while is the best choice. Definitely you can ask me, sir, can you please give us an example? The example we have already cited. The example is, suppose the question is, I want to print the name of all the final year students, all the final year students of a specific university, right? So we have a database. In that database, all the student names are there. All the student names are there. So what we need to do, we need to display only the final year student names. So what we can do, we can select a while loop, because we don't know how many students are there. Students may be 10, maybe 20, maybe 1000, maybe 5000, maybe 7000, maybe 3000, maybe 0. You cannot predict. You cannot predict. So in that case, while will be the best choice. Right here, for will not be a best choice. That doesn't mean you cannot able to write for. You can, but the best application, the best thing to use here is a while loop, right? We can take one more example also. Suppose there is an organization. In an organization, some people are joining regularly. Suppose today 10 employees are joined. Next day, 300 employees are joined. Next day, 100 employees are joined. The day when all the employees are joined, we need to update the database accordingly, right? So we don't know how many people will be joining on that particular day. So what we are doing, we're asking them, can you please enter the name of the employee name. Then we are asking employee name. Then we are asking about his or her salary. Then the address where he or she is living in, right? And suppose this three, we need to ask for three inputs of each employee, and we don't know for how many employees we are writing this program. Maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe 30, maybe 100, I don't know. But it should be working, it should work perfectly for in each day. That is the major requirement. Got my point? Now the question is, what should we do? We don't know for how many times this particular thing will be executed. In that case, while has a best answer for this. While has a best answer for this. What we can do? We can write a statement like, after each of this, after entering the values for these three, we will ask him, do you want to add any more employee? If you select yes, then while will continue. If you select no, while will not be continuing. This is the advantage of while loop. And while loop is best suited, a best ideal loop for this particular kind of situation. Make sure you understand this point. Right? Next, let us see the syntaxes and use of while. So without wasting time, let us write the syntax. If we want to use a while statement, the syntax is pretty simple. It should be used like while followed by, you can say it is condition, you can say this is expression, and like this, right? Here all the valid statements you can go on writing. So this is the simplest of simple form how while can be written, right? We'll go through one by one. Let us first see the working procedure of this one, then we'll go through what can be done and what cannot be done, right? First one, as we have discussed, while is a pre-test loop. The conditions are, all the rules for pre-test is applicable here. What will be done first, when it will be executed, and from where it will be executed. Remember this point. Step 1, condition will be executed. Now next one, the condition will be either evaluated to true or evaluated to false, not anything else. It could either produce true or it could produce false. That means the conditional part or the output of the conditional part should be a Boolean value. If you write any other value other than Boolean, 100% you are going to get an error message. We'll look into that, don't worry. Now the point is, if your condition evaluated to true, then it will enter into the loop. So second point is, it will be entering into the loop if it is true only. Next, once all the statements are completed, again it will go back to the same condition. This is step number 3. Now after reaching step number 3, step 2, 3 will be going on executed sequentially and repeatedly up to your condition produced false. This is how while loop is basically working. Got my point? How while loop is basically got working? While loop will be working depending upon the condition. Let me write a simple code we can understand. Let me write a simple code. Suppose I am writing integer I is equal to 1. Here I am writing while, here I am writing while I less than equal to 5, let's say. So in between, let me write system.out.print followed by I, and finally I plus plus. We'll discuss every part, don't worry, we'll discuss each and every part. Let us understand how it behaves, then we'll go through. So as per the discussion, this particular one will be evaluated first. So can you tell me, before coming into this while loop, what was the value of I? Value of I was 1. Now question is, I'm at step 1. In step 1, value of I is 1. So I can say I less than equals to 5. True or false? Absolutely true. Now that means the condition is evaluated to true. Immediately it will be entering into the loop. First case it will print 1. Immediately I plus plus means the value of I becomes how much? 2. And after the statement is completed, again it will go back to the condition as per our discussion, right? Now step 2. In step 2, 1 is replaced with 2 because it is incremented. Fine, this is again true. The same scenario continued. 1 was printed previously, now 2 will be printed. Now it will go on till value of I is 5. When value of I is 5 and you are writing plus plus means I will be 6. After getting 6, if I am right, 6 is less than equal to 5, you know this is false. So no more execution is possible. Got my point? This is the simplest of simple way how your while loop is behaving, right? Now this is the working of this is a basic working of this one. We'll discuss every aspect as we have discussed. We'll discuss every aspect. Let us understand what can be there in conditional part, what can be there in other parts. We'll go through. Let us complete this one. First, we'll talk about the conditional part. Condition part. In conditional part, what should be there? First point. First thing is first, conditional part is mandate. You cannot skip that part. This is mandate. Number 2. It should be a Boolean type. Remember, the conditional statement should be a Boolean type, right? That means you can use anything at the end of the day, but that should able to produce either a able to produce only a Boolean value, either true or false, not anything else. Remember that point. You should remember that point. If you write anything else, error 100%. Now the question is, the conditional part should be a variable or a constant? It could be anything. It could be a variable, it could be a constant, either constant, it's a compile time constant or runtime constant, doesn't matter. Or it could be an expression also. But remember, whether it is a variable, whether it is a constant, whether it is an expression, doesn't matter, but it should have the capacity to produce a Boolean value. That's for sure. Otherwise, error will be 200%. Got my point? Right. Now, here you need to be very keen if you are mentioning a compile time constant. Suppose in a conditional part, I am directly writing true. You know, true is a Boolean constant. So since true is applicable, true is allowed, we can write true. But if you write the statements like while followed by true, right? Now, whatever the statement you write doesn't matter. 5 statements, 10 statement, 13 statement, we don't mind. Since true is a Boolean constant, now my question is, listen very carefully. Tell me a point where this true will be automatically converted into false. You heard it right. I asked you a question. Can you please tell me a condition or a situation where the true value or compile time constant true or Boolean constant true will be automatically converted into false? You definitely have a very good answer to my question. Sir, you are gone mad. How come it true, which is a Boolean constant, will be automatically false? That means this true will be there forever. Since it cannot be false, don't you think this particular loop will go on executing and executing and executing? It will never going to stop. This is what called as infinite loop. First point, remember, if first, this is the first and the very important point. What I can say, if the condition is a compile time constant, that is true, immediately the loop will be an infinite loop, right? The loop will be an infinite loop. Got my point? Okay. Now similarly, if the compile time constant false will be there, what you can say? The body of the loop will never going to be executed, isn't it? Keep that question in your mind. We will discuss about that point. Don't worry. Just don't worry, right? So these are the following things that we have discussed clearly. If we want to specify the condition, first point, this conditional part is mandate. You cannot skip. Second, it should return a Boolean value, either true or false. It could be a constant, it could be a variable, it could be a compile time constant, it could be an expression also, doesn't matter. But it should produce Boolean value at all the times. Next, if you are specifying a compile time constant true, what it says? The loop will be an infinite loop. So these are few things you need to consider while operating on while, right? Now few more things about while, then we'll go through all different cases of while. What are the few more things you can add? Like more things like what? Remember, this curly braces in while loop is not mandate. These curly braces are not mandate. If you are not specifying any curly braces, what is going to happen? Only one statement is allowed. Only one statement is allowed, not more than that. If a curly braces are absent. But remember, if curly braces are absent, one statement is allowed, and that statement should not be a declarative statement. That statement should not be a declarative statement. What that does mean, suppose I am writing a while here, maybe some valid conditions. Then if I am not writing this, and if I am trying to declare a variable here, 100% pakka you are going to get an error message, because what I have done here, I have written int a, which is a declarative statement. And if there will be no curly braces, you are writing one statement, that statement should not be a declarative statement, right? Okay. At some point of time, few people says, if I am writing while with a condition followed by semicolon, now this is valid or invalid? This is perfectly valid, no problem in that, because semicolon is a valid Java statement, right? And we can write like this, no problem at all. So what is going to happen? This loop will do nothing. If you are writing true here, now it will be put into infinite loop doing nothing. It will go on executing, nothing will be done, nothing will be there, right? So this is, you cannot say this is invalid, this is completely valid, no problem at all. That's a different story. Output will be a different one. We will not discussing about that one. We are discussing that is permissible or not. Got my point? I hope up to this we have discussed all the points. What should be there in condition? These two brackets are optional. If you are not included the body of the while within curly braces, only one statement is allowed, and that should not be a declarative statement, right? And if you are writing a compile time constant, then yes, then if it is true, it will be an infinite loop. Now this is all about while. So let us test every aspects of this while one by one, right? Let us start with. Let us go with a simple example. I'll go with i is equal to 1. We'll go with the simple example. While as per the discussion, there should be a condition, and condition should be present within parenthesis. We are writing a less than equals to 10. Just go on writing. Let's say, let me print I, and definitely increment statements will be there. Suppose here I am writing end of the loop, right? So let us execute this particular program. Let's see what is going to happen. Compile the program. The code should compile fine. Let me execute the program. Absolutely fine. Now I'm going to get, I'm going to get 1 to 10, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. This can be easily understood. I've started with I is equal to 1 in step 1. If it will be evaluated, this will be true. Since this will be true, value of I will be printed as 1. Next, value of I will be incremented to 2. Again, 2 is less than 20, 10. Condition true, true will be printed. So this particular thing will go on and on and on till you are reaching at 10, right? Okay. Now, we'll look few things into it. See, one thing we have done here, this is the conditional part, this is the body of the loop. Here what we have done, we have writing a statement called as increment statement. If we are removing this one, suppose we are not writing this increment is not mandate, you can skip. Suppose I am not writing this one, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? I will never, I can start at 1, my end point is 10, and each time I have to go, like I have to go for one increment so that I can go to 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 finally 10. If increment is not there, then I will be 1 forever. It cannot reach to 2 because I have removed this increment part. You want to check? Let us cross check. So what is going to happen if I am not writing this one? You can easily see, if I am not writing this one, you can easily see what is going to happen. Value of I is 1. This will be true. So 1 will be printed, right? Again, nothing is there. Again, it will be go back to the condition. I still remains at 1. Again, 1 will be printed. So infinite time 1 will be getting printed. I hope you all could able to understand this particular thing, right? So let us cross check. So while working with loop, you need to concentrate on all these things. Otherwise, you could not able to understand the proper C. It goes on printing 1 1 1 1 for infinite period of times. Let me break this one. Control C, I break this one, right? So increment, even if it is not mandate, if we are removing this 100% pakka, we are going to get a different kind of output, right? Similarly, suppose this part, I have not done this initialization part. I have not done this initialization part. You know, if we are going to use a variable without initialization, definitely my compiler will give me left and right. 100% error, it should be initialized. This is a simple kind of error. We have seen this error. So this is must. This is must. Now, at some point of time, we have discussed key. The conditional part is mandate, but here I have removed that conditional part. Let us cross check. What it says, illegal startup operation means you cannot write a while statement like this. You have to write something like this. And what is the output of this one? You know, the output of any relational operator is a boolean, right? But if I remove this one, I am written only I. As per the definition, definitely error message should be there because we cannot convert int into boolean. See, incompatible type int cannot be converted to boolean in line number, yes, line number 7. Can you please cross check line number 7, this one? So only I is not allowed. Yes, I less than equal to 10 is allowed, right? Suppose I am writing here I is greater than equal to 10. Now we can test about the pre-test loop. If you compile this one and if you print this one, only one line of code will be there, end of the loop, right? Because end of the loop is after the loop is getting printed. Since for the first time the condition will be false, no statement will be getting executed. I is 1. If I test like I1 is greater than equal to 10, this is true or false? Yes, this is false. Once false will be evaluated, immediately my control will be coming out of the loop. Which one will be getting printed? End of loop will be getting printed, right? Okay. So now we have discussed some part of this one. Now we will be into some more interesting stuffs. We'll look into that, don't worry. Now tell me here, What I have written here, I have written I is equal to 1 and I less than equal to 10, right? Okay. Now system.out.println like this. We are writing something like that. So as per the discussion here, what we can do, we can write anything. We can write like constants, we can write like variable, we can write like expression, and this is one expression. Let us try with a constant. Suppose I am writing here true. I am writing here true. Right? Now, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Definitely, since this is true, this particular one, these two statements will go on executing till, yes, till infinite period of times, right? Isn't it? Now, but if you compile this one, before I make it, before my compilation happens, make a note of it. Before I compile this one by writing it true, you know, true is a compile time constant. Compile time Boolean constant. Whenever this particular one is compiled with the help of Javac compiler, what is going to happen? Javac compiler can evaluate this true. Compiler understand this is a true value. That means these two statements never going to be stopped at any point of time. They were moving or they were executing for infinite period of times. Now, my question to the compiler, a compiler asked me, can you please tell why, if you are writing true here, why you have written this statement? Why you have written this statement? Do you know this statement cannot be reached because this particular statement, look into this very carefully. The statement which is present outside of the loop, the statement which is present outside of the loop, this is the outside of the loop, right? No, since this is true, you know, these two statements will be go on executing for how many period of time? Infinite period of times, right? If it is infinite, the loop will never going to be completed, and this particular statement is never going to be executed. Now compiler has a problem here. Compiler says you are writing a statement which is not reachable. So make sure you remove that one. Otherwise, I am here to check कि you have written a wrong line of code. You want to cross check? See, let us cross check. This is a compile time error, not runtime error, because see what it says. Unreachable statement. Which one? Line number 12. I repeat, it says unreachable statement at line number 12. This particular statement is not reachable, and this error is generated by whom? By your compiler. Let us go back to the code. Line number 12. Which one? This one will be not reachable. Correct? Can you recall? Suppose I am writing 1 here. Let me remove this one. Let me remove this one. I am writing 1 here. Suppose I am writing I is less than equal to 10. Now, see, look at the difference. Look at the difference between these two. In this case, whenever I'm compiling this one, do you find any compiler error? The answer is no. But if I write true as a constant, compile time constant, I'll get an error message. Let me tell you the difference. If I am writing I less than equal to 10, remember this is not a compile time constant. This is a runtime constant. Because compiler cannot replace the value of the variable at compile time. It only knows compile time constant. And whenever I am writing I is equal to 1, I'm using I is no more a compile time constant. It is always a runtime constant. Compiler cannot replace the value of I. So for this one, compiler says no issues, you can go through that. even if this particular process will always produce true, because I have removed what? What we have removed? I plus plus, right? I hope you could able to understand this particular point. See, if I execute this program, compile this program, compiler says I don't have any problem. See, if I run this program, 1111 will be getting printed. That means the same scenario, this statement will be getting printed for how many number of times? Infinite number of times. But did I get any error message for this particular statement? No. Because what we have done here, we have used a runtime constant, not runtime expression here, a constant here. But by mistake, if you are using a compile time, you know, we have already seen, it will definitely see bus. Compiler can see, array, you have written true. I know what is the value of true, right? So this statement is not going to be evaluated in its lifetime. So can you please remove that statement or change the code so that I can execute? Otherwise, error will be there. I hope you all could able to understand this particular point. Similarly, if I am writing here, suppose I am writing here false. Again, false is a compile time constant, boolean constant. As per the rule, this is completely valid, no problem in that. Now, listen to this carefully. If this will be false, I repeat, if this will be false, which statement cannot be executed in lifetime? These two statements. If it is false, why you are writing a loop, brother? If you are writing while false, that means you know you are not going to execute this loop, and compiler is smart enough. Compiler says you have written a constant that I can easily recognize. I know this is false, right? If this is false, these two statements are never going to be executed, right? So unreachable code will start from here. I think you could able to understand this point, right? So let us compile and let us see what our compiler says. Compiler will say the same story. See what it says? Unreachable statement. Which one? Line number 8. Where? The curly braces. Let us see where it is. Line number 8. Line number 8. Which one? This one. Right? Compiler says you have written false and you want me, if you are writing false, why you have written like this? What is the purpose of writing this? Which one will never going to be executed? No, this is an error. But at the same time, whenever we are writing a statement which will give me false value at all the points. But remember, this is not a compile time constant, this is a runtime constant. It will be only evaluated at runtime, not at compile time. Got my point? Now, let's see. No problem at all. Java compiler says, brother, I don't have any problem. Go, execute, nothing. Last statement will be executed, no problem at all. So this is the difference with compile time constant. If you specify compile time constant in while, if you specify runtime constant in while, right? Similarly, now let me write final here. You know, whenever we are writing a statement called as final, at that point of time, I will be now a compile time constant. I will be now a compile time constant. And one more thing I cannot do with a final statement, I cannot write plus plus. Because it's a compile time constant, you cannot able to change the value of that one. Again, the same story. Since it is a compile time constant, now compiler can replace the value of I as 1 because we have written final keyword or final access modifier. Got my point? So you need to be very keen while you are using a loop called as while, and you should be keen where it is applicable, what you are specifying, like that. Got my point? If you want to cross check, if you want to cross check this one now, happily it will say an error message. 100% it will tell you an error message. What? Same unreachable statement, because now I is no more a runtime constant. I is a compile time constant. Now if it is a compile time constant, compile don't know what to do, right? So this is some of the scenario of while. We have discussed which part is important and which part should be there and if we do not write that part, what is going to happen? So let us conclude. To be very honest, while has all these things. This is what called as initialization. Since this is not a written rule ki while should have an initialization, this is the normal property of Java, so we are not including that one in while. But we know whatever the variable we have to use here, that variable should be initialized before. Otherwise, there is no point we can use it. Compiler will give us left and right. Now next, while statement, the condition is mandate that should be present within curly braces, and the conditional statement can be a constant, can be an expression, or can be a variable, but doesn't matter what they are, they should be of type boolean. Mandate, that's mandate, right? And the body of the while loop may be present within curly braces or may not be. If you want to execute one statement, curly braces are not mandate. If you want to execute more than one statement, then curly braces are mandate, right? Now, the next thing is, whenever we are writing a compile time constant, true value, if you are writing a true value, and if we have written a statement after while, immediately we are going to raise an error. That error is unreachable code, and we have discussed this one quite thoroughly, right? Now you can ask me, sir, we don't have this particular one. We don't have this particular one. And what we have done, we have written true here. Did I get any error message? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because all the codes within that loop is reachable. So it doesn't have any problem. Doesn't have any problem. The only thing is the loop will go on executing on and on and on and on like that, right? For infinite period of time. Since we are writing a statement here after the loop, definitely 100% we are going to get an error message, because that particular statement, this particular statement will not be reachable, right? Similarly, whenever we are using false, this particular statement will be unreachable, right? But this is only possible if we are writing compile time constant true or compile time constant false. Otherwise, in all other cases, those are the simple scenario, right? So that's it with while. Before closing the session, I definitely urge you to, whenever we are working with while, make sure you remember, you understand all these points. See, we have discussed all these points not in theory, but also in hands-on activity. I have shown you the entire thing. Apart from that, you can also experiment some new things, and you can generate new conclusions also. So with that note, let us conclude this session. In the next session, we'll be definitely looking into some other kind of loops. Till then, take care and bye bye. Thank you.